really difficult. And so I've been putting her in both situations, in that her being a parent and a speech therapist is such a unique position to be in. But often when we are thinking about communication, we all often just think about it as a speech therapist. And very often we don't think about it from the other person's point of view, from the parent point of view, but also from the teenager, 13-year-old point of view. And so I wanted to get that across to you because it's so important to be able to see the person as a whole and to feel confident as a speech therapist to go out into the real world and look at that situation and think about what things can I communicate about maybe that person isn't able to communicate about. So, for example, I can go to a deli counter in a supermarket and I could say, I'd like a £1/4 pound of Wensleydale with apricots, and I would like a pork pie with cranberries on the top. Okay, I know that sounds a little bit weird thing to say, but I could actually ask for those things, and I did ask for those things, especially when I was pregnant. But the client that would be next to me in a wheelchair using a communication aid, or just even not using communication aid, maybe he's got autism and he can't communicate those things. I need to think about it from their point of view, not about my point of view. So although we might be going to the deli counter together and, you might think, oh, I'm a bit embarrassed about it all. As a speech therapist, I need to stop myself feeling embarrassed and think it's not about me, it's about him. It's not about what I can communicate, it's about what he can communicate. And so that's what I want you to look at today, is thinking about Halliday's functions of communication. And I wanted to share with you Halliday's functions. So this was a really useful tool that I used with this speech therapist and parent. And basically what we did is we gave it a kind of color coding system. So green meaning that is 50% competent in that, yellow meaning he's 100%, and red being he's unable to do. So if you look at these things, you can see that he's struggling with telling a story or current affairs, or, providing instructions, telling a joke, dealing with negotiating a deal. So when you look at all this, let me give you some examples of it. So for example, personal greeting would be saying, good morning, how are you? Asking for directions would be, excuse me, can you tell me how to get to the nearest subway station? Or offering assistances, can I help you carry those bags? Offering gratitude would be, thank you so much for your help earlier, I really appreciate it. Sharing a personal story would be when I was a kid, I used to spend the summers with my grandparents' house in the countryside. Giving directions, take a left at the traffic light and then go straight forward for two blocks. Apologizing for a mistake. I'm sorry for being late for our meeting. My train got delayed. Making a request. Can you please send me a report tomorrow? Discussing current events. Have you heard about the new COVID-19 variant that's spreading across the world? Providing an explanation. The reason we need to implement this policy is to ensure greater accountability in our organization. Making a suggestion. Why don't we try to finish this project by next week instead of waiting until the deadline? Or it might be like, why don't we go to Thorpe Park instead of going to Windsor Castle? Okay. So I wanted you to think about these things that we say in our everyday situation, and then think, well, what would my clients want to say relating to these functions? And when we think about it, we really need to put ourselves in their position, because I think too often we just think about, I don't know, checklist, I suppose, of things that they can and can't do. But what do they really want to communicate about? So this is what I've been doing with this young girl, and I think it's a really useful task, is to think about the things that we say in everyday situations, and why we say them, and what the function of them are, but also to think about our clients and what kind of things they say and what the function is, or things that they're not saying, and how we could introduce that into everyday situations. So I'm going to stop sharing here, because one of the things that I have been introducing recently, and I'm going to just share it with you on this screen, is I've been seeing a child who's autistic in Germany, and we have been working on going to McDonald's. Okay, let's see if I can find the screen for you. There it is. Right, so we've been practicing going to McDonald's, and this is the grid that I shared with him. And we did a role play, and he had to ask, I was the McDonald's lady, and he had to ask me for certain things. And what was interesting is that he only asked for his own thing. Even though we'd said to him that he's going to order for us too, and he's going to order for his mum, and he's going to order for me, maybe the fact that he had auditory memory difficulties, he couldn't remember what his mum had said or what I'd said. But also there was an element of, it's a communication opportunity here. Like, you could just order for yourself, but how do you think that makes that person feel if you haven't ordered for them as well, and they were expecting you to order for them? So I wanted to share that with you, because these sort of communication environments and situations, going to McDonald's, proves to be a really useful way of getting your child to communicate in real life situations. And what sort of language would they use? So I did, when I did this role play, I said to him, I'm really thirsty, you're going to have to order me 2 large Sprites. And so there you have 2 large Sprites. Okay, 3-word level, but in a functional way. So I wanted you to think about that, because it's our job as a speech therapist is to make our clients communicate in real situations, and for us, if we are working with parents, for them to see, yes, your child can communicate in real situations, and give them that opportunities, give them those ideas, role play, role model those sort of situations, so that they feel that they can do it too. Now, in the link, if you want to join my Facebook group, it's called Speech Therapists Worldwide. I've left the link in the description box, so you can have a look and see whether that's something you'd like to join the group. It's a free group, and find out more about working with clients worldwide. And I also run a group, which is a paid group, Maven Business Haven, and for the next 48 hours, I've got a special offer for you to join that group too, so that you can learn about being a therapist online, and it'll be lovely to see you in that group too. I've left the link in the description. There's also a bit of training here for you, and it shares all the different things that are inside Maven. So I look forward to seeing you soon. Bye for now.